Hello, everybody. Welcome to Booster One. We are going to talk about a really interesting reading strategy, and it's actually a pre-reading strategy. It's called Identifying the Author's Purpose. So when we are referring to the author's purpose, we are basically talking about the why behind the writing. It's important to be able to identify the author's purpose because it helps the student effectively evaluate a piece of writing. And you know how important that is in the current times with the examination moving towards competency-based, right? So how useful is the author's purpose? Well, it would help the reader understand and analyze the writing. It would help the reader have an educated guess. When I say reader, I mean our students. It would also help the reader focus more on the opening lines of a paragraph or the titles, etc., because all that is going to direct the reader towards understanding what the author's purpose is. So if you can identify the author's purpose as a student or as a reader, it becomes easier to recognize the different proficiency used to achieve a particular purpose. For example, once you identify the author's purpose, you can take an informed guess or understand the tone. You could understand the style. You could even comprehend the content better. You know what I mean? So it's really important that we train our children to understand the author's purpose, which is why it's a great and a very important reading strategy. So, excuse me, just a second. Yes? Oh, of course you can come in. So, guys, we have a guest. So this is Minnie. She's going to join us in the conversation. Okay, Minnie? All right. We're doing author's purpose, yes. Oh, no. Don't worry. It's not too difficult to teach the children the author's purpose because it's usually intuitive. You know, for example, the moment the children read Once Upon a Time, it immediately tells them that, oh, yes, they're going to be entertained, right? And if they read a sentence that says, the king cobra, and there's no king cobra here, I'm talking about it. That a king cobra is the longest, most poisonous creature in the world, they will know that they are going to be exposed to facts. So they are ready to be informed. And that is just about what it is. It's as easy as pie. Yes, as easy as pie, P-I-E. You know, and that is precisely what teachers the world over use, this particular acronym, to teach the author's purpose. So basically P is for persuade. So is the purpose to persuade, which means to convince the reader of their own point of view or a particular way to think. The I, you want to guess, Minnie? You're right. The I is to inform. Remember we talked about the king cobra, etc. Inform. And E obviously is to entertain. But this is not just what it is. Persuade, inform, entertain is not where it stops. There is more. So the more could be, describe, explain. It could be criticize. It could be, yes, thank you for reminding me. It could be a retelling. For example, Minnie's story could be retold in the form of a play by a particular author. So it's a retelling. Of course, it's going to be coupled up with pie, but there are separate aspects as well. Now, let us do a quick check. For example, let's talk about a National Geographic article about eating and breeding habits of the black buck. So obviously, it's going to be informed. And what if there is a narrative about a teenage boy learning to understand and live with his father, who is a depressed war veteran, perhaps? So then it's a story. So you could read it at leisure. It's meant to entertain. What's left, Minnie? Yeah, okay. An article arguing why Tendulkar. I know you're a fan. Why Tendulkar is the greatest cricketer ever. So what would that be? Yes, persuade. Very good. It's going to be persuade. So when we talk about things like this, we are very clear that there are different kinds of purposes that the authors had. And you can be sure that your textbooks, the NCERT textbooks, have different pieces having different purposes. So that really helps you as a teacher to sort of train them on this. Okay? Yeah. So let us now move beyond pi. The first aspect that you need to remember is breaking the stereotypes. For example, when we talk about fiction, it can have more than one purpose. So it's not just entertain. Okay, it could be an author who is trying to tell a story about life lessons like bullying or self-acceptance or self-esteem, etc. So then the purpose not only is entertaining, but it is also persuasion. Okay, and the same applies for non-fiction. Non-fiction is, by definition, we say that yes, it is all about facts, but there is much, much more. Okay, for example, there are stories of influential and inspiring, yes, Nelson Mandela, influential and inspiring people in history. Okay, so the purpose can be blended. It could be sharing of information, and it could even be persuasion. Their way of thinking, what they did, to get impressed by their skills and so on. Or if it is written in a fun way, like Minnie and I enjoy, it could even be, autobiographical aspects. It could even be entertainment. All right. So let's remember that we can also go beyond pi. Another thing that going beyond pi talks about is identifying the genre. So the moment the child knows the author's purpose, the child can identify the genre of the particular writing piece. Is it a humorous piece? Is it a mysterious piece? Is it romantic? Is it historical and such? Okay, so you would have those kind of skills that are there in the child as well. The most important aspect, and we will end very soon. Yeah, we'll come again. The most important aspect is facts and opinions. So for many students, the task of distinguishing between facts and opinions can be, yes, it can be very difficult. In fact, it's a stumbling block, actually, because it interferes with their comprehension. Okay, because a lot of opinions can be disguised as facts. An example, okay, what about your favorite bird? Okay, so she says, flamingos are interesting birds. The bright pink color makes them more beautiful than other birds. Now, the moment the child reads flamingos are, the instinct that is telling the child is that this is a fact. Actually, both are opinions, both the parts. The fact that flamingos are interesting birds and also that their bright colors make them more beautiful than other birds. Why? Because these two statements cannot be researched and proven. They cannot be. In fact, they are opinions because these statements, might be disagreed with other people. So we need to understand that facts means that they can be researched and proven. So the moment the child looks at the author's purpose, and the moment the child says, oh, this is all about giving me information, I know the author's purpose, then the child knows that these are facts. So author's purpose really helps in helping the child do that. Now, let's end with, yes, I know. She's saying, please, could you tell them how to do it in the classroom? Yes, well, there are 5 simple things that I'm going to tell you. First, use mentor texts. Okay, so read short stories or read short excerpts of stories in the classroom very quickly and just keep telling them row-wise or pair-wise, group-wise, whether they can identify. You could even say people who say that they are persuasive will remain seated. People who think that it is the purpose is to inform will stand, and people who think that the purpose is to entertain will clap. So, you're getting the whole class engaged. So you could even read 2 sentences. Yeah, I know. We like that. Okay. So the second technique is to use book blurbs. So you could either photocopy different blurbs of books and you could put it in class and then very quickly get them to identify. You could showcase, if you have a smart board, you could showcase there. The third recommendation that I have for you is title sorting with bylines. So you have different titles of stories or books. In this case, you could even begin with something like this. When you're beginning your session, you have different, you look at the index and you can attach a byline and then tell them to guess what the purpose of that writing would be. That's wonderful. It works very well, even with senior students. The fourth one that I would suggest is called 3-in-1. So you give them 3 topics and you tell them it has one common purpose and see if they can get it and ask them why they said so. Okay. And the last one could be what Minnie's favorite is, I'm an author. I'm an author. So what do? You simply shout out, you say, inform, and tell them to write down 2 sentences as an author on anything that they can think of, but it should correspond with the skill of inform. I guess from my side, that is it. Now, all that I have said, you will find as short notes that are going to be attached here on the website itself, here, right here in the post that you've purchased. Great, go for it. Author's purpose, identification of author's purpose. Yay! See you again very soon with another booster. Bye-bye.